Hello and welcome to HAVTS.com in association with AliBlogger.tech brings you this Clipcast on installing EVNG Network Simulator Community Edition. My name is Aleem HLE and oh, by the way, I'm this handsome gentleman to the right. And in this Clipcast, we'll be installing EVNG Community Edition ISO on an ESXi host. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is go ahead and visit EVNG's download page for the Community Edition. From here, we'll go ahead and download the EVNG ISO. Now, I've already downloaded the ISO and placed it into the data store of the server to which I'll be installing it on. So next, I'll go ahead and bring on my vCenter client. I'll select my server here as 172.16.1.7, File, New, Virtual Machine. Then I'll click on Custom and bring this into the screen a little bit more. Click Next. I'll name this virtual machine HAEVNG.com. Go ahead and click Next. Select my data store. Make sure it's virtual machine version 11. Click Next. Then go ahead, click on Linux, and from the drop-down menu, we'll go ahead and look for Ubuntu Linux 64. Click Next. Number of virtual sockets. Well, in this particular case, since I'm using the Community Edition, I'll give it 4. And the number of cores per virtual socket I'll keep as 1 as per the EVNG developers. Click Next. Maximum memory. Well, again, since this is the Community Edition, I'll give it about 8 gigs. Click Next. And my network. Let's see here. Well, I'll choose my EVNG Fabric. This is connected to my management network to which the ISO will get a management IP address. Keep the adapter as is. Click Next. SCSI controller, keep as is. And virtual hard disk, will create a new one. And says size is 16 gigs. Well, I remember seeing I have about 1.7 terabytes. I'll just give this 100 gigs for now. For disk provisioning, we'll keep it as thick provision lazy 0. Do not click on thin provisioning. Per the developers of EVNG, when you start creating the QEMU objects, it will divide the hard drive. So thick is good, thin is bad. Click Next. Keep as is. All right, make sure everything looks good. Then I'll go ahead and edit the virtual machine settings. Continue. Okay, well, we don't need a floppy drive, so I'll remove that. Now for the CD, DVD, ROM, go ahead and click on my data store ISO file, and then go ahead and find my ISO for the EVNG community. There it is. Click Connect on Power On and click Finish. All right. So it looks like the virtual machine has completed. But before I go ahead and power on the VM, I need to open up the vCenter web client to adjust the CPU properties of this VM. So I'll select the VM, then edit virtual machine settings, click on CPU, and it's important to check off hardware virtualization to expose the hardware to the guest OS. Click OK. Go ahead and minimize this. Click on my VM now, and I'll power it on. Once it's powered on, I'll go ahead and console into it. Okay, bring it into the screen here. Click on English, and we'll go ahead and install EVE-VM. Hit Enter there. Okay, so I'll select English, and I'm in the United States, so I'll hit Enter. And now it's detecting hardware to find the CD-ROM and any ancillary components for the Ubuntu server side of the installation process. This may take a little while here, so I'll go ahead and pause the recording and come right back. Okay, we're back here. Looks like it's detecting hardware settings now and trying to auto-config the VM at the moment. Attempting IPv6 and networking via DHCP. All right, so let's go ahead and now enter a host name for this VM. I will name this AHA-EVNG-com. I'll tab to continue, hit enter there. Okay, looks like it's asking for the time zone information. Yes, I am in New York. Enter again. Okay, so it looks like it's go ahead and detecting disks and additional components. May take another 2 or 3 minutes here, and I'll pause recording and come right back. Okay, so about 2 minutes later, it's asking me now for a proxy. Well, I don't have a proxy on my network. I'll just go ahead and leave it blank and click continue. Okay, so it looks like a little bit more configurations is going on here. Again, looks like another 2 or 3 minutes. I'll pause recording and come right back. Okay, an additional minute and a half later, now it's looking to install security updates. So I'll go ahead and install security updates, and then it looks like the VM will reboot. Okay, it looks like it's finishing the installation now, and now it's asking to remove any media from the CD-ROM or floppy drives, anything like that. At this point, we have to make sure that our CD DVD-ROM is still connected. Do not disconnect the CD-ROM at all, and we'll go ahead and continue. And now the system will reboot. Okay, system is rebooting now. We should get the EVNG prompt shortly. So it looks like it will take another 1 to 2 minutes here. I'll pause the recording and come right back. All right, so after about 5 minutes or so, we are here at the EVNG community login prompt. So we'll go ahead and log in with root, followed by the password of EVE as shown on the screen. I'll hit enter here, and now we're going into the setup of the EVNG VM itself. So it's asking for a root password. I'll keep it default as EVE. I'll tab to OK. And notice you don't see the password, but believe me, the password is there. I'll type in EVE again, click OK. And now for the host name, I'll name it AHA-EVNG, and I'll append it with com for community. OK again. And if you have a DNS domain name, you can enter it here. Mine is lab.aha.local. And now is asking if we want to use a DHCP or static IP. Well, in my case, it will be a static IP, and I will give it an IP of 172.16.1.200 as we saw when we log into the VM. Click OK. The mask is 255.255.255.0. My default gateway 172.16.1.1. Okay, again, now my primary DNS server will be 192.168.64.1, which is the IP of my gateway to the internet. Click OK, and my secondary will be a publicly accessed one. Okay. Now next is asking for an NTP server. Well, I don't have one, so I could just leave this blank. And we'll keep the proxy server configurations as is, as direct connection. And looks like is going to take effect and we'll reboot. So looks like we'll pause the video here because it'll take another 1 to 2 minutes for this to come back up. Okay, looks like it took less than a minute to come back up. We'll go ahead and log into it again. And now, this time, we'll go ahead and run some updates and upgrades on this VM. So we'll do an app get update, and I'll hit enter here. And it's working on some things here. Okay, connected. So shortly, we'll be getting some updates. Probably take another 35 seconds here. All right, so we're done. Now let's go ahead and do some upgrade. Hit into here. Click yes to continue. So this may take another minute or two for it to download and do the upgrades. We'll go ahead and pause and come right back. Okay, so it's asking the default action is to keep your current version. So we'll just hit enter here and keep it as is so it can continue the upgrade. All right, so it looks like after 2 or 3 minutes, the updates and upgrades have completed. So let's go ahead and open up a web browser here and go to the EVNG dashboard. So I'll type in 172.16.1.200. My username will be admin, password EVE, and the native console will be kept as is. So I'll go ahead and sign in. And yes, we could get into the EVNG dashboard, which means our installation of our EVNG community ISO is a success. Excellent. In the next K.L.I.P.cast, we'll go ahead and add ISOs for devices so we could begin building network topologies and start testing our configurations. I hope you enjoyed this K.L.I.P.cast on installing EVNG Network Simulator, the Community Edition, on an ESXi host. And I'd like to thank you for viewing.